Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. Today we have the most insane run and gun build that you've never seen before. But before we get into that, there's been over 14,000 returning viewers in the last month, but 94% of you aren't subscribed. If you do like the content I make, please consider subscribing, it would greatly help me out. Now back to that build. This build is so powerful you'll be speeding through any manner of content. This build has a lot of survivability built into it, but it also comes with an insane amount of damage. This build requires no proficiency levels and no seasonal modifiers. And it's so powerful that soloing legendary content in the summit has never been easier. We've achieved this with every piece working so perfectly together. Let's start the breakdown off with our 4-piece Umbra Initiative gear set. Our 4 pieces of Umbra are going to include the chest, the gloves, the holster, and the knee pads. For our 2 and 3 piece set bonuses, we get 15% critical hit chance and 30% reload speed. And with the 4 pieces, we get From the Shadows into the Light. This talent would normally give us an increase to our fire rate by 20% and an additional 60% critical hit damage. But because we're using the chest piece, we actually get an increase of 40% rate of fire and 120% critical hit damage. This of course comes with a 40% armor regen every time we get into cover and stay in cover. All you have to do to get these massive bonuses is sit in cover for 5 seconds. After that, you'll receive your increase of 40% rate of fire and 120% critical hit damage. And while you're out of cover utilizing these bonuses, you'll be building stacks to regenerate your armor whenever you go back into cover to rebuild your DPS bonuses. So now that we have a massive fire rate and a massive critical hit damage advantage, we're going to be wanting to stack our critical hit chance as well as add some survivability. But how do we do that exactly? We're going to get both of these from the named backpack, the Devil's Due. The Devil's Due is a Seska backpack, meaning you'll get 8% critical hit chance for the 1-piece brand set bonus. As you can see, this one is loaded down with critical hit chance and critical hit damage. We don't just want the Devil's Due because it's a Seska backpack, but because it also has the talent Perfect Clutch. Perfect Clutch is going to allow us to rebuild our armor by 2.5% of our missing armor for every critical hit we land. This is below 20% until we get a kill. After we get a kill, we're able to take our armor back to 100% with Perfect Clutch. This ability will only last from 4 to 10 seconds depending on how many red core attributes you have. You gain an additional 1 second for each red core you have, starting at 4. So because the base time is 4 seconds and we have 3 red cores, we now have 7 seconds of active Perfect Clutch. The only difference between Perfect Clutch and Clutch is that with Perfect Clutch, you have to be below 20% armor. With the standard Clutch, it's below 15%. So it really doesn't matter. If you want to use the base Clutch on any brand backpack that you want, go for it. Because I want these critical hits to hurt really, really bad whenever enemies get hit by them, the next piece that we're going to be using is the Coyote's Mask. The Coyote's Mask is extremely powerful in the Division 2. It's both an amazing piece for solo and group play because of its talent Pack Instincts. Pack Instincts will give you a variety of bonuses depending on where the last enemy you shot was standing. These bonuses will apply both to you and your team. If other members of your group happen to be using the Coyote's Mask as well, you'll have multiple bonuses active at once. But the reason we're going to be using this is because it increases our critical hit damage by 25% whenever we're within 15 meters of an enemy. We still get benefits, however, if our enemies are within 15 to 25 meters. This is because we get an additional 10% critical hit chance and 10% critical hit damage. The 25 meter plus bonus doesn't really apply to us because we're trying to max out our critical hit chance anyway, and because we've pushed our critical hit chance and damage to the limit, we need to add in another source of damage to maximize our DPS, and it's for this reason that we want the Bighorn Exotic Assault Rifle. We want the Bighorn specifically because when paired with Umbra, it has an unbelievable rate of fire. This synergizes really well with Clutch because the faster our weapon crits, the faster we get our armor back. And the main reason we want this gun is because of its talent, Big Game Hunter. If you don't have the Bighorn already, this build is a great solution for solving that problem. You get 1 stack of 6% increased headshot damage every time you land a headshot with the Bighorn. And as crazy as this is, it stacks up to 25 times or 150% increased headshot damage. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Massive headshot numbers, massive critical hit damage numbers, massive healing. You just can't beat a run and gun build setup like this. Before I mentioned that this build could be the solution to you getting your Bighorn if you don't have it already. And the final piece of that puzzle for you to be able to do that lies on the next slide, and that is our secondary weapon, the Police M4. This M4 is special because it's decked out with optimal range and accuracy. Because of that ACOG scope, we're going to have a 47 meter optimal range. Because we have our vertical grip and our suppressor, we've increased our accuracy accuracy by 60%. This is going to help us with our long-range engagements where we're not able to hit shots with the Bighorn. If you don't have the Bighorn, you just need a high RPM assault rifle or SMG with the talent Killer on it. Yes, if you have the Dark Winter or the Caretaker, those would be perfect for this build when farming for the Bighorn in the Summit. Killer is a great talent to run with this build because it pushes our maximum critical hit damage even further. In the case of my Police M4, Killer is going to increase our critical hit damage by 70%. If you have the Dark Winter or the Caretaker, it's going to increase by 90%. If you don't like using Killer, I would recommend Measured as a really good option. People like to hate on Measured, but at the end of the day, it's a really good talent, and it's going to increase your fire rate on the top half of the magazine, meaning you will heal faster. Things really get crazy if you were to use Measured on a Vector. If you were to do that with max stacks from the Umbra, you're up to almost 2,000 RPM. Now we're going to go into the full build, then the specialization and stat review, but after that we're going to go over a few things that might make it a little bit easier for you guys to run this build. Here's the full build. If you don't like using clutch, you can always use the Umbra backpack. That'll repair up to 80% of your armor whenever you go into cover. For our specialization, we're going to be wanting to use Gunner, and that's because we get a 5% increased fire rate after we get a kill for 5 seconds. After standing still for 1 second, our weapon handling is increased by 10%, and because we get an additional 10% armor on kill every time we kill an enemy. To get the most out of this build, there's only a few things that you need to remember while you're using it. First is utilize your cover. If you don't use cover occasionally, you're not going to have any stacks to have any kind of DPS, not to mention you can regenerate any lost armor while you sit in cover. Second, don't trick yourself into thinking that you're invincible. I actually do this a lot myself and get killed all of the time because of it. You get into a groove where you have a ton of damage and you're regenerating a bunch of armor from clutch, but overconfidence will lead you to disaster. Don't go into gunfights thinking you're going to face trade with every enemy and that clutch is always going to save you. Clutch works so well with this build because of our third step, and that is always be moving. You'll see throughout all of the footage in this video and all of the legendary footage that comes after the outro that I'm constantly running around even whenever it seems like I don't really have to. The point of this is to constantly be breaking line of sight between you and your enemy, so they're trying to shift to get that line of sight back on you. This creates a power dynamic that's favored to you. You're in control of the gunfight at that point, and it just makes every situation way easier. Keep in mind that this tactic is best suited for areas that have a bunch of cover or a bunch of walls that make it easier to break line of sight. This section of the video is brand new with this one. This is my first time attempting this, so if you guys don't like it, please let me know how I can make it better in the comments below. For the first part of our stat review, we have 3 armor cores, 3 damage cores, 3 critical hit chance attributes, 5 critical hit damage attributes, 1 critical hit chance mod, and 2 critical hit damage mods. For the second part of our stat review, we have 57% critical hit chance, 241% critical hit damage, 265% headshot damage, 9% damage to targets out of cover, and 18% health damage. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I really appreciate all of you being here. I am truly very grateful to all of you guys for helping me blow up this video. It got like 20k views in the first day. These videos are recorded a week before they go out, so I actually don't know how the next video or the one prior to this one is going to perform. But with all the success that I've had so far on this channel, it's been a really humbling experience. I know that I'm a small channel now, but anything I accomplish in the future is all because of you guys. So I just wanted to say thank you. I've been a social outcast my entire life, so making something and knowing that people enjoy it, it's just an amazing feeling that I've never gotten before. So thank you guys. I really can't express how grateful I am to you. With that being said, that is going to be the end of the video for me. If you want to see how the Legendary Summit run went, feel free to stick around and check that out. As always, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!
Destroyed. Immediate medical assistance needed. signs, 0. Immediate medical assistance needed.